Hi guys, today we are going to show you how to repair a garage door. I've got the garage door wheels to replace. I've got the pulley. I'm going to replace this wire, both pulleys, and the spring on both sides. So what I did to prep this thing, this garage door track was full of grease. 20 years of buildup, I don't know. It took me a long time to get this track totally clean. You do not want any grease in this at all. If the garage door starts binding, look at your wheels. So we're gonna replace all the wheels. There's 5 on each side. And I probably could clean them up maybe, but they're old, I'm just gonna go ahead and replace them. And the ones on this side. And we'll start that first. Now what I'm using here is I got 10-pack Amazon. These are 18 bucks. Of course, I went with a poly this time, rather than metal. They're supposed to be quieter. Of course, here's the mark. I'm gonna mark that. And I'm using a Harbor Freight 12-volt ratchet. Using a 7/16 impact socket. And I'm using a stand, which I did a review on. It's actually a salon stand. It goes up and down. Just to hold my tools, just so I'm not bending over, picking up all the time. And we want, first side, I did the garage door up, which was a mistake on the wheels. It was just a little harder. So this time we're gonna do it with the garage door down. Yeah, I gotta replace my opener as well. I don't know how old it is, but every once in a while this doesn't work at all. So we're gonna rebuild everything first. Okay, let me get some light in here and get this camera on the tripod, and then we'll be back. Okay, we got the camera, we got some light in here. Now if you're tackling this, the first thing you want to do is get this track as clean as possible. I use engine degreaser, I had some leftover brake cleaner, any type of thing to break that grease up. So the first thing you want to do is you want to trace that hinge. Because you want to make sure when we put it back, that's in the right spot, because, this could separate, so I make sure and get that lined up. And we do that for everyone. Okay. Get the ratchet out. Yeah, it's better to do, again, replace this with the garage door down. Okay, so we're gonna take that off. And that this slides out. Put that aside. Put the new one in. Now one thing you want to be careful when you're putting these back on, you don't over tighten them, because you could strip them. Actually, you want to try and put it exactly where it was before. Oops. Try to get my ratchet in the mode. being careful not to tighten that too much to strip it out. We got one in. 9 more to go. So I'm gonna be doing that for each and every one of these. The bottom one's gonna be a little bit tricky, since that's got tension on it. So I'll go ahead and I'll do all these, and we'll come back to this one. This one we have to do with the garage door up because there's tension on it. Okay, we got 8 of the 10 in without any issues. And I'll show you the old ones here. We got 2 more left to do, which we'll have to do with the garage door up. Here's the condition of the old ones. Yeah, they're probably 30 years old, maybe more. I'm not really sure. Stuff that I moved in here. So now we have to open up the garage door. And one thing, keep in mind that, you know, as this, you know, garage door, they flux as they go up, you know, and this makes sure that there's no debris in this also, because this will kind of slide back and forth as it goes up, not all around. Okay, so this is the last one we gotta do. And the reason why I got that cable on there, so we wanna get the tension off that. Yeah, this is dirty. I'll have to, when I take it off, I'll clean it up. So again, now there's 2 parts on this one anyway. I mean, yours may be different. That roller is pretty yucky. So again, let me get my marker. I'm going to trace that. And I'm going to trace that part too, because this is 2 parts. Okay, so we want to get the tension off that. I got some partly gloves here. We're gonna just push that. Ow. Yes, that's sure. Okay, let's let that go through. Yeah, that end is pretty frayed. Okay, get the ratchet out. This is the first part. That's the cable for the cable. Put it over here. Well, the roll apart looks like this is 1 bolt. Get at it. That thing, I think that roller is actually frozen. I can't get in there with my wrench. Okay, so I'm gonna take that off. I'm gonna clean it up, and then I'm gonna have to get an open end wrench in there to get that off. Okay, so I ran this thing where this thing's actually in there pretty good. I'm just but it's not rusted in there because this part I can't replace. So I'm just gonna see if I can pound that out. That is in there good. Punch that through. Which size do I need? We're gonna have to try and punch it all the way through. Okay, so not too bad. I think what I'm gonna do is see if I can try and get a sandpaper or something in here and clean that out. And then we'll get that new roll in there and back up. Okay, so the new one looks like it's sliding in there fine. You know, me trying, I don't think I have anything to actually go inside there and spin around and clean it up, but looks like it's really good. So I'll mount this back up on the garage and we'll go from our next steps from there. Okay, so we got this in, no issues. The other one, I did not have that problem. That one came right out. And the problem I did notice, not caused by me, that this is stripped, both sides. On there's the garage door as well. So I have to figure out, this is in there, but it's not in there very good. So I'm gonna actually fix that later, because it's been like that for years, obviously. So next thing to do is this cable's gonna come out, right? Because they're gonna replace the cable. And these are always just kind of friction fit in these holes, kind of slide through. So I can see all that in there. That's how you tighten it, loosen it. Okay. I'm gonna pull that all the way out. That's pretty mangled at the end there. So next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna replace this roller on both sides. The bracket, I'm not gonna replace. I mean, I couldn't get one that way. So I'm gonna have to get an open end wrench in there on both sides, and I found the parts on Amazon, which is a 2-pack. So we'll get that replaced and see what the next step is. Okay, so I pulled this off. I was 2 little bolts holding it up on top because I actually could not get this bolt to replace this. So we're gonna take this off. And this is 9/16. Yeah, it's been a while since I actually worked with standard bolts. It's usually everything's metric now, but of course this is very, very old. The bearing's still steam good in it, but it's rusty. These parts are cheap, and so I'm gonna take this off because there's a gap. Now, of course, trying to find something to match from 40 years ago, you ain't gonna find an exact match, obviously. So I'm pretty sure we should be able to fix that. Got some washers. fill the gap with some big washers. Right? Because that part's not turning anyway. It's the bearing part. Yep, looks like a good fit. So we gotta do that. We gotta do this to both sides. Okay, so we'll get the other side and we'll get these up. Okay, so we got both of these in. The hard part was there's a little screw that was bolt that was really hard to get at. I mean, it was right there, so I barely had enough room to turn it. I got my open end wrench there. So both sides need the spacer, the washer, to fill that gap. Now the next thing is the springs and the other pulley that's on the spring. And the cable, of course. And we got the parts here. 2 pack of cables, new pulley, and springs. Now the hardest part I had is just trying to figure out what size springs. You know, I had no idea how much the garage door weighed. You know, should I have dropped it and weighed it? I was thinking about that. I found a number in the door model number, ideal door. Of course, not in the Croft reference, that number being that old. So what I did, I weighed the spring on a scale, and I went to the website on the specs and actually showed how much did it weigh, and that's how he determined that I needed a 130-pound spring. So we're gonna take the spring down and off, put the cable on. The only thing that is holding this up is this bracket. So we get that bracket down, take it off, put the new spring on with new pulley on both sides, and we'll go from there. Okay, we got the cable. We're gonna string it to that top on there and bring it all the way through. Then we're gonna hook it on that. Then we're gonna bring it over to the spring. The hardest part is trying to, I can't hold the camera and do it at the same time, so I'll probably turn this tripod as I do this. Okay, so we strung it through the bottom of that. Okay. Now if you look on the top, see, I gotta put my finger so I know where to position the camera. It's hard to see. There's little holes. Okay. We're gonna string that through those holes. So that's how you tighten these things. I'm going to pull this off. There's another set of holes here. Whoop. We're going to go through. It's really hot today here in Minnesota. We actually have a heat advisory. Very rare for us. We get about, average about 12, 90 degrees a year. And our heat index for the next couple days, in the triple digits, really high humidity. Of course, when you have that kind of high humidity in Minnesota, there's always tornadoes, severe weather. So we have that going on too. Okay, so we got this in there. So next is, how do we determine how tight we want the spring, right? So I forgot to bring my tape measure out. Go to my shop, get a tape measure, because I'll show you what I did. So if you go over to your spring on your current one, or you could have measured this because these are the new springs. I already put these in and measure it. It's about 26. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna measure that string, that wire, and then we're gonna kind of yank them, pull on these things to adjust them on both sides until we match that 26 inches. So I'm gonna put the camera down and I'm gonna do that and be back. Okay, it is finished. Got all new hardware in. Cable, and the one thing I did, the cable, the old one's like that too. I mean, you can cut it. I just took that and did it on both sides. Okay, so we're gonna test it. Yeah, the rollers are a lot quieter. And there you have it. Pretty easy to do. Altogether, it took me just under 2 hours. So when would you replace these? I have my inner side brake on me. I had one of the cables break, so I said, well, I replaced that side. I'm gonna just go ahead and replace this side too. But I've heard horror stories about, these springs breaking, they get old and, hitting the cars and gouging the cars, these cables breaking. And they're all cheap parts too. I mean, if you have a garage door that, these parts are, 30 years old, do what I did. Now you got the video to show you how you do it. I think all garage doors now made in the last probably 20 plus years now got the overhead spring. I've never worked with those before because I was looking at replacing the garage door before I did this, and they all had that overhead spring with them. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching. Like always, like and subscribe if you find my channel interesting. Thanks.